Dan Rodimer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be on.
So there's been a lot of money spent on this race. It's contentious. Why do you think so?
Isn't it grotesque how much money they put into these races? It's very, I look at it, it's really very frustrating. Why is it such an important race? Why is it that everybody's dumping money in? Well, it's probably the top 5 race in the country. Top 5 for the Republicans and the number 1 for the Democrats. This is a race in which, people come to me all the time. They say, or you hear it all the time. This is the most important election of your lifetime. The fact is, it is. It really is. I'm running for United States Congress because I have 5 kids and I'm worried about their future. We just had a baby last week, number 6. And, it's not just about fighting to protect my kids. It's about fighting to protect all the kids out there. We're seeing it more and more and more right now. And the differences between myself and the freshman congresswoman is we are completely different. We stand on 2 different sides of the spectrum. And, and I look at, and I look and I listen and I listen to everybody, Democrats, Republican, and I listen to the issues, and all the issues, they come down to the same things. What do you want? I want good healthcare. I want a good paying job. I want my kids to have a good school, right? And right now with COVID, these are extremely scary times. Heck, they're scary times of bringing a newborn, with rioting and looting and people burning down buildings and shooting police officers like Officer Shea, who's paralyzed from the waist down, for having, borders that are not secure, where we have drug dealers and drug traffickers and sex cartel members, drug cartel members coming over, sex traffickers, sanctuary cities. Folks don't want that. That's where Susie Lee and I are completely different. Taxes. Susie Lee said she's going to repeal the Trump tax cut. That's $2,000 in the average Nevadan's pocket. $2,000. She voted against border security, even though Obama wanted it. Folks don't want that. She voted against the HEROES bill last week, $600 million to defund the police she voted on.
Nate, can you name 3 specific bills you would try to pass?
3 specific bills? Well, there's certain things that we need to work on. Right now, and it's really pathetic because you hear Republicans, there's some Republicans that are, on certain topics that I get frustrated with. Democrats, like Social Security. They're like, everybody's giving up on it. I think there's no way I will ever vote on a bill that will defund or take away Social Security from our seniors. Healthcare. Right now, I don't believe in socialized medicine. I just don't. Susie Lee does. I do not. I believe that we should have, competitive healthcare. And, I told everybody, I will never take anybody off the current healthcare system. I'll make sure everybody has good healthcare, or have healthcare. But, I will never vote on anything where, they won't allow you to come on with a pre-existing condition. We need to protect these people. And a lot of Republicans, they don't have the backbone to say, we're going to protect pre-existing conditions. I'm very passionate about a few things, Social Security, healthcare, jobs, and school. School's another one. I am a huge advocate for school choice. I don't care if you're black, white, red, green, male, female, rich, or poor. I believe every child deserves a right to a great education. Susie Lee, she disagrees with that as well. Sorry, that's the newborn crying.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
These are certain things that we have to have. We're ranked number 48 in the union for education. If you're a big business, are you going to come here and bring your business here if our education system's so bad? No. And I think our teachers are doing a great job, but they're overworked. 40 kids in a classroom doesn't work. Everybody learns differently. Susie Lee disagrees with school choice, but she sends her kids to a $65,000 a year private school in Connecticut, which is so hypocritical. There's the problem we have right now is we don't have Republican or Democrat with a backbone that will go on CNN and MSNBC and Fox and go on the House floor and talk to fight to protect the people. And when I get to Congress, I think Susie Lee's only spent about a handful of times that she went on the House floor and spoke. You have 2 minutes every day. Lauren, if you call me up and you say, hey, look, we have an issue right now, I want you to say something. I have 2 minutes. I'll be on C-SPAN. I'll make a big deal about it. When I walk off the House floor, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox are going to interview me. And then it's going to get out to the entire country of the issue that we have right now, right here. And that's how we're going to do it. And that's what I'm going to do.
So as far as police reform, you do have the endorsement of the police union, correct? And Sheriff Joe Lombardo has said that he does support police reform. Do you support a national standard for perhaps, here's an example, calling more mental health workers instead of police in certain instances?
When Joe Lombardo, I haven't talked to Joe Lombardo in a few weeks. When he says police reform, I don't know if he's talking about federal or if he's talking at a state level. Lombardo is, I've talked to him many times. Fact is, yes, we are endorsed by the largest law enforcement association in Nevada. First time ever that a Republican has gotten that endorsement in Congressional District 3. They removed it and took it from Susie Lee because she was for defunding the police. And now we're looking at even more folks coming on board. I do not believe that a congressman in North Carolina should be voting to make decisions for Nevada police officers. I believe that this should be a local, county, state issue that should be handled by our leaders here in Nevada because they have different issues. North Carolina, they're going to have different issues than we have here in Las Vegas. We've done a great job. The police officers here in Nevada kick butt. I mean, they have, not literally, what I mean is they have done a great job handling the entire situation. They have, these are scary times. And, you don't want the folks here in Nevada, they don't want less police officers. They want more.
Speaking of endorsements, the Review Journal endorsed Susie Lee. So did the Chamber of Commerce. They usually endorse Republicans.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, right now with the fact that the police unions are endorsing me. Heck, even the labor union. I got a phone call from the head of the labor union saying, hey, look, we can't endorse you, but we're going to put up 300 signs for you. Right?
Which union is that?
I don't want to say because I don't want to get them in trouble, but you're going to see a lot of signs out there. But because they're going to get in trouble at the federal level. But I'm getting more and more phone calls now because people want to go back to work. And the fact is they're not going to have any work at all unless somebody fights to bring back manufacturing, bring back jobs, bring back, we want to make sure that when we do reopen, we want to have opportunities for everybody. We want to be able to do we're talking about doing a $5 billion bill for infrastructure, which we need here. We need our contractors to get back to work. We need our construction workers to get back to work.
Susie Lee did not agree to a debate. What do you want to say about that?
Well, I think the people here in Nevada have the right to hear from both sides. I think they should. The fact is my background, yes, I was a former WWE pro wrestler. I was probably the worst wrestler in the WWE, but I was very good on the microphone. And in law school, when I went to law school, I wasn't the best student. I was a B student, but I was very good at debating. These are the attributes that I will bring to Congress. In addition to being a small business owner here in Nevada, we own restaurants here. And, it's very, very frustrating that folks can't hear both sides. And right now, all you're seeing is Susie Lee is attacking me. She's attacking my family on TV nonstop. We have really, really nasty, horrible things that I could retaliate with. It would affect your family. I won't do it. I don't think it's right. I think it's, what I believe is, you get out there what you've done or what you're going to do. And if Susie Lee could, say good things about what she's done, then she would have done it on these commercials instead of attacking my family, talking about what she wants to do in the future, but she can't. And she won't debate me because she won't do that. And, I've taken the high road. In the primary, I was attacked for 5 weeks. And we won the primary with 50% of the vote. I think the viewers here in Nevada they should have that right to hear both sides. There's stark differences. Like I said earlier, Susie Lee wants to remove and repeal the tax cuts. Susie Lee voted against border security. Susie Lee voted to defund police officers just last week. Actually, three different bills she voted against. Susie Lee is not for school choice. And like I said, I don't care if you're black, white, red, green, male, female, rich or poor. Every child deserves a right to a great education. Susie Lee believes in socialized medicine, and I don't. There's stark difference. And that's what this race is going to come down to. It's going to come down to which candidate is going to be best for their family. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or Libertarian.
You mentioned she attacked your family. I know we've asked you about this before. People have seen the commercials with your wife, giving your family side of the story. What do you want to say about that? It seems more so she may be attacking your character. She's saying this is a guy who had anger issues. Do you really want him to represent you in Washington?
No, I don't see it that way. I see it as that she is coming at my wife, and this it's a trickle down. I mean, imagine my 6 children have to sit there while my wife had to record that video. I don't know if you're a parent, but these are malicious attacks. And the fact is yes, my wife and I got into an argument. She called the police. We got into a verbal argument. There was no physical touching ever. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was taken into custody. Nobody was brought off to jail. That was it. They came and they left. And later on that day, we went out to dinner. And the fact that she's, throwing this dirt up against the wall is absolutely terrible. When the fact is, the only person being investigated right now, currently under investigation, is Susie Lee. She's currently being investigated by FACT, one of the national bipartisan watchdog groups, for taking $5.6 million in PPP funds, lobbying to get it, laying off employees to be able to fit in the guidelines, going on MSNBC, denying it when she was asked, and then admitting to it. And then when being further investigated, they found out that in late January, before the president shut down flights from China, in a closed door secret meeting that only Congress knew about, she found out the economic impacts on what industries were going to get hit the hardest. And she sold off her stock. And she bought up stock and made a ton of money. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or Libertarian. Nobody wants a self-serving politician, going to Washington, D.C. to fill their own pockets. What should she have done when she found out? When she found out about COVID, did she immediately go back to Nevada and tell the teachers and the schools how to handle this situation? Did she go to the seniors and tell them, hey, we need to prepare, and this is how you prepare? Did she go to the schools? And or did she go to the small businesses and say, hey, look, this is what's going to happen? No, the first thing she did was sell up her stock to make money. And that's not right. It's not right.
We've heard President Trump question the integrity of this election. Will you accept the election results in Nevada?
Look, people come to me all the time, and they're worried about fraud, and they're worried about, ballot harvesting. It's legal here. I mean, it is legal. Republicans argue about it all the time. Well, it's not right. It's not right. But, if that's the law of the land, you can do it. Then, you're going to see folks out there doing it. Now, do I think, if we find out that other people are filling them out and people are signing other people's names and they have proof of it, then yes, I would expect, if it was either side, I'd expect Susie Lee to do it or Dan Rodimer. to do it. But I hope that there will not be, any fraud. And I encourage everybody, if you want your ballot to count, you should probably go in person and vote in person, either early voting or even absentee.
Despite COVID-19?
If you feel safe to go out and vote in person early, I would recommend it. That's Republican and Democrat and independent and libertarian.
CD3 is a swing district. It's heavily Latino. What is your policy with immigration?
So the issue that we have right now, and I have people coming to me all the time, and I have a cousin of mine who's a dreamer, and it's very, very frustrating for her. She's abided by the law. She's paid her taxes. She's kept her nose clean. She pays thousands of dollars to immigration attorneys. Now, we have a rule of law and we have to abide by it. But the fact is, this is an extremely sensitive issue. It's a bipartisan issue. When I get to Congress, I'm going to bust my butt to work on it. But right now, our current representative, Susie Lee, she has not worked on it at all.
But do you have a solid plan or solution?
When I get there, I'm going to look at both sides. I'm going to look at all the issues. It takes a long time, going through the judicial system. Does it need to be expedited? Absolutely. But when I get there, I'm going to look at all the options, and I'm going to talk to my constituents here and figure out the best issue and what they want, what they're going to push for.
You mentioned you went to law school, that you were a B student. I think for law school, B is fine, right? But what is your background in law?
Well, I graduated from Ave Maria Law School. So my whole background, this is what I always like to say, this is what people say, Dan, what are you going to bring to the table? What have you done? And after I graduated from University of South Florida, I got into the mortgage industry. I was very successful. I was very blessed. And then I got into real estate. And then I got my general contractor's license and I started building. And then I fell into the WWE, kind of found me. And sure enough, after the WWE, I hurt my neck real bad in a match, actually, believe it or not, against John Cena. And after that, I went to law school. And when I graduated law school, I moved out here to Las Vegas about a little over 9 years ago. We got into the restaurant industry, and we have a few other different small businesses. So people say to me, well, Dan, how are all these things going to help you when you become a congressman, right? Being a showman, yes, I was a showman. I was a WWE wrestler, but I was also a small business owner. And I understand regulations and taxes. I understand how to run a small business. And I understand what the folks here are going through. And these are things I want to fix. I want to get people back to work.
Did you ever practice law though? And did you take the bar exam?
No, I did not. I did not practice law. After law school, I came out and I did write a bill. I wrote a school safety bill with Scott Hammond. And I worked on it real hard. It was right after the Parkland shooting. That's one of the reasons I always like to tell, because people ask me, why did you get into politics? And during the Parkland shooting, my daughter was really, really good friends with another little girl that was being shot at. And my daughter watched it on one of the social media platforms live. And I watched it with her. And it touched me very close to home. So when I came back here, I said, you know what, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to try to get involved as much as I can. And I wrote a school safety bill. And then, the governor says, they shot it down. And then from there, they asked me to be on the school safety advisory committee for Clark County School District. And I was able to work on both sides. There was a lot of Democrats, there was only a few Republicans, but we pushed and we got, helped get some, gun sniffing dogs to be able to clear schools and protect the kids. And then from there, they asked me to be on the school safety advisory committee to protect all of our houses of worship. All the way across the board. And then from there, they asked me to be on, committee after committee after committee. And then when, the opportunity arose, I got frustrated because Susie Lee said that she was a moderate and she was going to come on, and I was fighting. I was hoping that she was going to be a moderate. But as we all know, she voted 95% with AOC, and AOC is definitely not a moderate. She's a socialist. And we don't want that here in Nevada. We don't want socialism here in Congressional District 3. And when you look at the voting record of Susie Lee, you see that she voted 99% with Nancy Pelosi and 95% with AOC. And the problem is she's not thinking for herself. She's not thinking for the people. We don't want Nancy Pelosi running our state. We want a representative that will go out and go to DC and speak on behalf of the people. And I'm going to be honest with you, Lauren, I'll tell you straight up, everybody may not agree 100% with all the things they vote on. But I can promise you this. I can promise all the viewers out there. I promise you that I will be ethical and I will be moral. And I will always put Nevada first for anything else.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add?
I just want to add that, when it comes down to it, Susie Lee's approval rating right now is at a 38%. It's the lowest in the country, the lowest. There's a reason for that, because she was nowhere to be found during COVID, because she didn't come back and fight to protect the people here. And she was on the wrong side of the aisle on a number of different things in regards to, like I said, protecting our borders, protecting our police, making sure that our taxes are kept low, and making sure that our kids have the right to a great education. So this election is going to come down to who's best for your family. Who's going to go there and have the best morals and ethics that will fight to protect Nevada and have Nevada as the number one in across the board. Take care of Nevada. Who's going to do that? Is it going to be Susie Lee, who hasn't been working for the people, working for herself, or Dan Rodimer, who is going to go there and is going to fight tooth and nail to make sure and be very, very vocal about it, to protect the folks and our seniors and our children and our police. And that's what it's going to come down to. Who's the best candidate for your family? So please, I'm Dan Rodimer. On the ballot, I'm Big Dan Rodimer. Please go out and vote. God bless Nevada and God bless America.